What? No theme music, nah?
Gusto, now Chris the host. Man, I make a little dinner whilst busting joke. Come to the yard, get it off your chest. There's no hard feelings when you're rocking with the best. Everything's crisp, everything's nice. Throw a little sugar, add a little spice. Ask all questions, cook a little rice. Gamble like Vegas and throw a little dice. Raise a glass and make a toast. Drop by Chris for a Sunday roast. Or 8 days of his mixology. Get twisted and not off the Hennessy. Now your belly's full, play a game of ball. Gusto, he's coming from the old school. No if buts, maybes, whys. No silly questions, I tell no lies.
Everything Chris. 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 Live talks with the Queen herself, Amanda Townsend.
Hey,
How you doing? You right?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Can you see me properly?
I can see you very clearly. Can you see me okay? Let me turn this light on.
Yeah.
Oh, long time.
I know. It's been a while.
Beard gang.
Right. That's it.
I want to get
Beard
into
gang, light gang, work gang.
your roots. I want to, give you a good comb and a brush.
Oh man, yeah. Give me the dreads and everything.
Yeah, man. Join the dread crew. Join the dread.
What's going on, Ginge DJ? My G Chris. Alright, cool. How you been anyway?
I've been all right. Busy, very busy, trying to stay level-headed, given lockdown and a global pandemic and work and yeah, I'm trying to just maintain balance and inner peace.
So how did you deal with lockdown and all that? The quarantine and all that when it first happened?
What? I have to be honest, like there were ups and there were downs. Like the ups were like bliss, just I was going for walks and going to the park and exercising, and then other days I was just like the news and yeah, just ups and downs. I tried to keep myself busy with just finding things to do, like clearing out the house and yeah. How about you? How did you find it?
I was still working. They classed me as key worker. But when we weren't working as much at the time. So there was a lot of like times where when I was at home, I was finding things to do, and then I stumbled across. Well, the guys helped me stumble across doing this lives.
Yeah.
And then the live was. I think I was just gonna do like 1 or 2 or 4 lives, and leave it at that. And then that just ended up being a constant thing.
Yeah, it's good. I love it. It's funny because basketball is an interesting area for me. Like I think I was supposed to be like an athlete and it just never happened. It never ever happened.
Oh, never happened. Have you not thought about doing it? Did you ever try it or anything?
Do you know what? In school, I used to play netball and I played a bit of basketball, but I was always goalkeeper. I'm 6'2" for those who are listening. I'm very tall, so people always ask like, "Oh, do you play basketball?" Like, and I'm like, "Nah, it just never happened. I fell off." But
I like that you tell your actual height. You know, when some girls want to tell everyone they're 5'11" when they're blatantly 6'3" or something.
I can't.
So you're 6'2", man. No, I'm 5'11". Don't like 6 foot.
And do you know what? You got the shorter women that lie about their height and say they're taller. So I just say I'm 6 foot.
Listen, I just say straight. I'm 5'10". If a girl's tall and she's taller than me, I tell her straight I'm 5'10". If you don't like me, then I can't help you.
It is what it is. But yeah, 6'2". I think I was supposed to be a basketball player, or maybe I was in a previous life. But there's been a couple of like male friends that I've played one-on-one hoops with a few times over the years who have tried to be like, "Oh, I'm gonna win," and I'd be like, "Okay, let's do one-on-one," and I would always win, and I'm like, I don't even play ball. So I like to get competitive, even though I don't play, just for the fun of it.
Do you know any famous athletes? You know much? No.
Not really. I don't actually follow basketball too tough.
Right.
It's not the work that I do at the moment. Like this is going back years in terms of when
Yeah.
I used to play sport.
That's fine. That's fine. All
Yeah.
right. Good. So let people know, man. Where did you grow up?
London, South London, sunny South. Yeah, actually, so for those who don't know, me and Chris go way back, don't we?
Way, way, way back. Way
Way
back.
back. Chris is my boy. He's my G. Like, oh, it's so nice to see you. But yeah, South London, sunny South. Born and bred, born and bred from South. So yeah.
Nice, nice. So this is what I want to know as well. So when did you start getting into speaking about mental health, and when did you get into what is it that got you into being a self-care and self-love advocate?
Good question. Really good question, actually. So I before I went into mental health work, I used to teach. I used to be a maths teacher in secondary schools. I know that's another story, but I did that for about 8 or 9 years, and it got to a point where I burnt out. I had to just stop. I was exhausted. I gave so much to the education system, and then dealing with my own personal things, the workload, the workplace politics, and so I had to just leave the education system completely and just focus on my own self-care. I had to I went on a recovery journey because I burnt out. And so on that journey, I kind of traveled, and I went on I traveled to Africa. I went to visit the motherland because I wanted to connect with our heritage, our deeper heritage, and get to know self a bit more. And I met someone who delivers training in mental health, and so I was telling her a bit about my background, and she said, "You might be really good at this. I think you should explore it." So that was almost 2 years ago. Almost 2 years ago. So I was looking for a new venture anyway, and it just kind of came to me on that journey. And so it's been just over a year, maybe about 15 months now that I've been a mental health first aid trainer. So I train people how to spot the signs of poor mental health. And so I kind of tap into my own experiences as well as kind of experiences with other people who have struggled with their mental health to really add flavor to the training. So yeah, really powerful,
Okay.
powerful course.
So that's how you got into it. All right. And then what is it that made you, you probably think you might have answered it, but what is that made you fall in love with wanting to pursue this as a career in some kind of way and pursue this as to be part of your life?
I think because of when I experienced burnout, when I my mental health was at its worst, I found that people around me in the workplace, my friends, not all, but many friends and family, they just didn't know how to respond to my challenges. Um, they didn't understand what was going on, or just didn't know how to say the right thing. And so when I learned about this training and experienced the training, and I thought, wow, like I can relate to all of this. This means it meant something to me. So I'm not just doing this because it's a job. I'm doing it because I get it. I've been in the shoes of the person who doesn't know how, who hasn't had the appropriate support. And so yeah, it's coming from a place
Yeah,
of, so through my own healing I can kind of add to the training because I'm coming out the other end.
that's dope. That's dope. I like that. I like that. I get that as well.
Okay, Nick.
Nick, what's up, Nick? So we're gonna say, so talk us through your journey, man. You know, like when you discovered it. So you said you went to Africa and that. How did that whole experience go?
Listen, I went to Ghana, Accra, and Ghana is magical, honestly. Like it was just a really magical experience. So many things happened. I learned so much about myself and my culture. Um, my history, like we did loads, we did a lot. We went to like a wood crafting store and like really got into some wood crafting. We visited like some beautiful beaches. We went to a few museums, ate local food. We were amongst the locals. It was just a real experience, a real African eye-opening experience. And I think what we all often see of Africa and how it's depicted is often a negative. So it was really nice to see it for myself, and I fell in love.
Yeah.
It was a healing experience as well, very healing experience.
How was that healing experience? How was it that moment when you felt healed at that moment? Like,
Do you know what I can remember specifically? There was when we went to a beach and I went exploring. It was a really quiet beach. It was just us there. There's like 10 of us. And I went and sat on these rocks on the coast so I could hit the waves were crashing on the rocks. And I sat there in just complete silence, in solitude, and the breeze, the wind, the sea breeze was blowing on my face. And it felt like my ancestors were just blessing me with energy and healing. Like that was what I recall the most like significant part of that journey.
definitely. I think, yeah, that's definitely, I definitely need to go there myself, somewhere
Yeah.
in Africa, just to heal. But I did learn some healing here as well. I think there's certain things that when I went through my mental health, it was my uncle that helped me. So he just helped me with certain things. He just taught me about energy. And little things like that, you don't think energy is part of why you're getting sick.
Mm.
It's mad. Like when he started breaking it down, why he moves away a certain way. And then when I started realizing, I was like, wait a minute, this guy is making sense, man. Like stress can do so much can do much to your organs,
Yeah.
to your mind, not just your mind, your organs. How like I have
Everything.
eczema. It stressed that my eczema got real bad, and yeah, man, you just think, geez, like you
Yeah.
gotta understand how important energy is.
Stress is closely linked to poor mental health or good mental health. So if we're not managing our stress levels, then we can start to see problems developing. And so,
Oh,
yeah, it really does begin with managing stress.
nice, nice. So, what is your like with mental health? What is your understanding of it? Like mental
Um,
health to you?
we all have mental health. All of us have mental health. There's a lot of stigma around the word mental. Mental is another word for mind. We all have a mind, and we all have mind health. In
Yeah,
the same way that we have physical health. Um,
people
so
think mental is like crazy. It's not that.
yeah,
It's not.
yeah, the stigma attached to the word mental, and that people automatically often assume that it's a bad thing. But we all have mental health, and our mental health is fluid, so it's always moving. So it can be good one day, bad the next day, but it's a matter of monitoring how you're feeling through periods of time to make sure you're okay. But we all have mental health in the same way that we have physical health, and it's about maintaining both of them, making sure they're both in sync.
Definitely, definitely. I think with mental health as well, it's deceiving from my experiences from where I work is sometimes you can't even see it physically sometimes. Mental
Yeah,
health can creep up. You might look at someone and you might think they are so fine, they're
yeah,
all right, but they could be going through the most
and
deepest stuff. I think that was what was happening with me
yeah.
once. I still was smiling with everyone, but no one knew what I was going through because I had that pride of don't want to look vulnerable. So
Yeah,
let me just,
it's that
yeah, man.
it's like an iceberg. So we
Hmm.
often only see the tip, but the signs are often there. So even though it's invisible to an extent, we can see mental health through our thoughts, our feelings, and our behaviors. So those are the
Yeah,
things that we're looking at: is how we're thinking, how we're feeling, and how we're behaving. Those are the
see,
signs.
there are some people though that like to throw it out there, depressed and all that sometimes, and I find that annoying because it's like it's a slap in our face. Like, don't make fun of having depression when you haven't got depression. If you know what I mean. There's some people that will do that, and I find it very disrespectful. Like, don't say you got depressed. Like for me personally, someone who's depressed, in my opinion, they don't say they're depressed. They like to think they're okay, and
Mm,
these are signs that I tell people to watch out for.
yeah,
Sometimes people ain't gonna come out and go, "I'm depressed, help me."
yeah.
It's not like that at all.
It's
So
not. It's not. Do you find as a man, how do you find talking about mental health as a man, as a black man?
I was gonna get into that question, but yeah,
Sorry, I'm taking
as a
over.
black man, as a black man, at first I found it like a pride thing again. Before I went into it deep, I found it like a pride, like, oh man, not me, and I don't want to tell no my business because they're not really gonna care. You know what I mean? How I think in this society sometimes, like they're not gonna care. And plus, I'm black, and they're not playing with that, man. I'm just gonna fight through it, and I'm gonna be strong like Malcolm X and all them and Muhammad Ali and all that. But it's like, we're human at the end of the day. I
Yeah,
think it's when It's when my skin got real bad, and yeah, as when skin got real bad, and I got real depressed, and when I hit like rock bottom to the point where no money financially, just wasn't myself.
Yeah.
Couldn't think for myself. I wasn't thinking for myself. I was letting people think for me, and you know what I mean, I was saying yes to everything, and I think yeah, it was bad, man. And I think why I am the way I am now with a lot of people, because a lot of people used to say to me, yeah, you used to always have these haircuts and you used to trim your beard this way, you used to shape up, and it's like I don't do that no more, because them times when I was doing that, I wasn't doing that because it was me. I was doing that because I felt like I had to impress everyone.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And these are things that people don't understand. I'm not doing that dressing up business, not because like I'm not doing it to because I'm being stubborn. It's like I'm doing it because I feel comfortable with who I am. Like I
Yeah.
don't need to go out in the freshest suit or get the freshest trim or get the you know what I mean? It's like I'm like, right, this is what you get, man. Like
It's
if I get a
those
shape out here and there, then I do, you know what I mean?
it's like
I just
society's expectations, right?
mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. So it's like I get nothing still saying to me now, oh, you should dress like this, man. Where's this Chris? I said he's over there, in it. Like there's like
I still want to do your hair though. Like it's still
yeah, you can
screaming
if
at
you want to. How you gonna do it? How you gonna
as
do
much,
it?
as much as I get it, like I'm because I do hair, I'm like I just want to get my fingers in and just like
Do you
yeah,
know what though? I wouldn't mind because you wouldn't be trying to flipping. I don't think you would try and change who I am. I think you try and adapt to what I am.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I think other people have tried to be like, no, I want you to be like this. And as soon as someone says that to me now, I'm like, nah, I
Uh-oh.
don't need you in my life. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
No, we haven't got room for that.
Nah, man, nah, man. I mean, there's people that, yeah, I'll take advice and adapt to it, but yeah, I'll
But
come down and let you do what you gotta do.
going back to mental health and being a black,
Yeah,
yeah, braid it. Someone said, um,
Brady,
being
raw.
being a black man and mental health, like, do you have like who do you have people that you can go to or reach out to for support? Like, what do you do? How do you approach, or manage your mental health? Or yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
I
Hey,
mean, nowadays, right? I'm on my own a lot, so I kind of like enjoy my own space, and I'm learning to fight on my own. At the same time, there is people I can turn to. So people I know I can talk to, like yourself. I know I can talk to you. Um, People may think this is weird. I don't think it is, but I can talk to my daughter.
yeah,
Don't tell her my problems. I just talk to her. See, with me, with most people, I think they need to understand mental health. You don't need to try and advise people. Just talk to them, man.
you know what? That is so key. Like, and
Just talk to them.
that's part of the training I deliver. Like I say to, people on my courses that we're not here to give advice. All we're here to do is give information, give support, and give encouragement and hope, and
Yeah,
sometimes it's about listening. Sometimes all you have to do is just listen and be present with the person and that's it. That's it.
that's it. What's your views on it then, as a black woman with mental health? Like, how important is it to you?
It's very important. I think as a black woman, there are certain things that I think are just naturally my part of my responsibility, just as a woman, in terms of being a nurturer, a teacher, someone that empowers people to kind of grow and develop themselves. That's just part of who I am. Um, but in terms of like mental health and being a black woman, I think there's a lot more awareness around black women's health and mental health in comparison to black men over the years. I think black women have had more spaces to work on healing and come together and have discussions and explore different things.
Yeah,
Comparison to black men, I think there's been more for black women. But I still think there is still a lot of stigma around black women perhaps being over sexualized or perhaps seen as being angry, stereotypically angry. That's one thing that I've battled with, is being the angry black woman.
I hate that. I hate that.
Yes, I'm like, yeah, I'm an angry black woman. I have a lot to be angry about,
But
racism.
there's angry white women.
Exactly. There are angry.
So like now let's look at this stigma they got, these Karen stigmas. If you look at them videos, right, how angry are most of them? They're angry.
They're wild angry.
They're mean. So do you know what? And this is what bugged me, right? So, one time I heard someone say this, where apparently this girl had a mixed race child, and someone asked her, you know, what's your daughter like? This, that, the other. White woman, she goes, oh, my daughter she has an attitude, man. So they asked her, what do you mean has an attitude? Oh, she has a black girl attitude. So he goes, what? So what do you
Hold on.
mean?
Go back a step. So what color's the parent?
Parents white with a
Yeah.
mixed race child. And
Okay.
she goes, oh, my daughter has a black girl attitude. So they were like, so what do you mean black girl attitude? How does that make any sense?
Mm.
Oh, black girl attitude. It goes, attitude. It's a white women can have attitude. No, not like the black girls. He was like, this is weird. Like, you have a child, and you're saying she has a black girl attitude. Like, that made no sense.
Yeah, that
When
doesn't
I
make
heard that,
sense
I
to
just
me.
thought, wow. Huh?
That doesn't make much sense to me either.
Doesn't make sense, like, black girl attitude. Like, when then people say that stuff, it's stupid. It's like, black girl, white girl. Attitude's attitude. If you got
So do you
attitude.
think so do you think black women are labeled as having an attitude by society?
But, you know what? It was, when I was younger, it was that stigma was out there. Like, they had attitude. But they both got, that anyone has attitude.
What do you
White, black, Asian.
where do you think the attitude might be coming from?
The media, if I'm honest, I reckon the media, you know, in films where they do make them seem like they're angry and all that. Like, and that's one thing. And then I think, like, a lot of back in the day, they used to think I used to hear this a lot back in the day where some guys would be like, I prefer a white girl because they ain't got no attitude. You tell them what to do and then they accept it. And it's just like, I'm like, right, is that how it is? But no, it's not like that.
Was that how it was back then?
I used to hear them stories when I was younger. I'm not gonna say who and when, but when I was younger, I used to hear them stories, and I was like, really? So no.
And
Cool.
so it's as if the black women have been abandoned or rejected.
Just straight away like that.
Maybe it's because we remind you guys of your mothers.
But you know what? Talking from my experience, I've been with someone with an attitude, and they weren't black. And then I've been with someone with black who never had attitude. So it's like it's stupid.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what are your thoughts then? I'm gonna swift the. Or do you have another question? Because I have a question.
I got loads of questions.
Go
I
on
haven't
then.
wanted
Go.
huh?
It's your show. You go on.
Turn, yeah. No, you go on because this next one's gonna be a bit off topic of.
Go on.
That's
Go
why.
on. Go on. Go on.
No, it's gonna be off. So you go first. It'll
No,
be off
you
topic.
go. You go. Come on. Go. Go. Go.
All right. I'm gonna say right. No, I was gonna ask you about your knowledge because you mentioned sports. What's
Yeah.
your knowledge of mental health in sports? What's your knowledge of mental health in sports like? What is it like? Do you know much about it? And if it's not, is it something you'd like to get into?
What I do know about, or what I can link mental health to with regards to sports, is around injuries, and healing, and recovery. You know, there are a couple of cases that I've kind of explored around people who have had sporting injuries and have then, you know, really struggled with depression, psychosis, even because of that switch in the mind whereby the person is kind of determined to recover. And it can be quite damaging. So yeah, poor mental health can definitely develop as a result of a sporting injury. Yeah, you know, the mind, you know, being an athlete is not just about the physical, is it? It's also about the mental. And
It's
so
mental.
yeah, the two go hand in hand.
Most of it is mental. So yeah, they say 80% mental, 20% physical. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So some of the greatest have had some injuries and never recovered, which is because they just thought about it too much.
Yeah. And you know what? It's interesting you asked that, because the training that I deliver, we actually try and target spaces like sports areas, so football, basketball, spaces, especially with men, spaces where men tend to gather, especially because the suicide rates amongst men are a lot higher than women. So 75% high in relation to men. So we actually try and target male spaces to train them so that men are better positioned to spot the signs of poor mental health amongst within themselves and amongst their teammates.
There,
Yeah.
there is a player you probably will connect with well on mental health. He's called Kofi Josephs. He's doing modeling now, but he's very big on the mental health side of things as well.
Okay.
He does talk a lot about it. So he's someone that really you could connect with and talk a lot about it with him as well.
Kofi Josephs. Okay.
Kofi Josephs,
No.
yeah, definitely. So what was the question you were gonna ask me?
I was going to ask about racism and like the killing of George Floyd and Jacob Blake, and how that might have affected you as a black man.
Jason, who's that one?
Jacob Blake, the one that got shot in the back 7 times.
Oh, he died, yeah? I thought he survived.
He
No.
survived. But I think he might be paralyzed, or I haven't followed the story.
Yeah, it's just become, you know what, though? It's just becoming draining now, man. It's just like, it's the same pattern. It's like something happens, killed or shot, and then it's like, same old annoying, like, oh, well, he should have done this. Oh, well, he should have complied. Oh, well. And the one where they shot him in the back 6 times, he just literally just grabbed his t-shirt and capped him up. But then, like, some kid can walk through with a rifle, shoot someone, and walk through the police, and nothing happened to him. It's like, what's going on?
Have
And it
you ever? Have you
irritates
ever?
me. What?
I was gonna say, have you ever had any encounters, like bad experiences with the police?
Oh yeah, of course, man. Yeah. You know what though? Mine never escalated that far to a point where they put me on the phone and drag me around. But it was annoying though. It's like they were stupid, petty ones. Yeah.
Mm.
And I thought to myself, you really stopped me for that. Like me and one time on Green Lane. So one of my friends was going to see his friends, and when sometimes you wait outside the house for them to do what they're doing. He was doing that. I was waiting outside. I'm just chilling. Just you just people watching. Walk out. Police car stops us,
Wow.
and the man's excuse was, "Oh yeah, we stopped you because it looked like suspicious. No, you looked at us and then you just walked off." It's just like, so, dude, I was just looking around like, why would it be suspicious? Oh yeah, no, like he might told you something and you saw us and you might been like run from the police and it's just like, dude, if we went to run, we would have ran. Like we're walking off. Like things like that used to irritate me. It's like, why are
Yeah.
you making up things just to stop us for? Just leave us alone, innit?
And does that affect you now in your adult years?
Now,
Yeah.
what, mentally?
Yeah.
No, not like, not in the way that I thought you think it would, but no, it's just like one of those things. It's like when I think about it, it's just like, wow, stupid. That was like the stupidest thing ever. What about yourself?
Do you know what? I haven't really had any trouble in terms of stop and search. But when I saw the Jacob Blake shooting, I think I must have watched it about 5 or 6 times, like back to back, because I couldn't believe what I saw. And for the first time, I realized that I had been affected by PTSD. I didn't anticipate being triggered. It really, really upset me, like really upset me. I was so angry at what I had seen. I couldn't believe, like I was walking around my house like 7 times, 7 times, not one, not two, not three, but 7 times. Like it took me a good week to process, like seven
7 times.
shots in the back. It was really disturbing. It really disturbed me. It really upset me. I think
No,
it upset me because there's been a few times over the years where I've seen stop and searches being carried out just when I'm driving around the area, and they've always been young boys, teenage boys, and because my background's in teaching, hey Mama Faye, because I've worked with young boys of the same age group, I feel a responsibility for them. And so when I
yeah,
see them being stopped and searched, I take the responsibility of stopping my car and going over to see what's happening just to make sure everything's okay. And it's always an interesting experience, seeing the police and their behavior change when someone from the community kind of comes over and is trying to hold them accountable for their actions. And so I think because I do that, when I saw these shootings, I thought, wow, that could have been one of them. That could have been you. Do you know what I mean? I've known you all pretty much, I don't know, over 20 years. And so, yes, it really affected me. It really, really affected me.
It's mad, isn't it? It's like as well, like I think when you do stick together, when a community does get together, they do tend to back off a bit because I've seen that happen before. It's like there was a situation with my younger brother, and I think he was talking to his dad in a car. The police drove by, and he just moved his arm out of the way to let the police car go by it because he was just trying to get across the road, innit? Got across the road, police come back, stopped him, tried to rough him up. But the whole community came by and said, yo, what are you stopping him for? Oh, he did this with his hand. So it's like, what?
Yeah.
So because he did that, you're going to stop him up, arrest him for that. You want his name and everything for that. Yeah, because, you know, he did that with his arm. And the police said, no, because he hasn't got no lights on his bike. They were like, no lights on his bike.
It's different excuses, isn't
It's
it?
like, oh, so but it's daytime, so why does he need lights on his bike? Oh no, because and my brother's like, no, you drove past me, I lifted my arm up, so I didn't get hit. That was it. So you didn't hit me. They're thinking of all these excuses. When you realize the whole community was there, the police were there. The police realized when the whole community were there, they kind of were like, oh no, we're just trying to, make sure we teach you a lesson and make sure you don't do it again. It's just like, bro, come on, man.
Yeah.
We're finding excuses now. And
It is what it is.
I know what annoys me. I want to get your view on this whole Wiley business. How he just got everything cancelled.
Do you know what?
What he said.
I have to admit, like, I don't really follow like grime and Wiley, and it's not my category. I saw a few posts like around him being cancelled, but I'd be lying if I said I'm in a position to really give an opinion on the whole situation because I haven't followed it. But I think I commend him for speaking his truth. I can do that much. I definitely commend him for speaking his truth. I'm an advocate of speaking truth. So
I do find it mad. It's like a man can shoot someone, nothing happened, and then he just said something, and you want to just cancel him out for everything.
Because the truth offends people in certain places, doesn't it? Whereas killing a black person is part of the agenda to depopulise, the world. So we're at the bottom of the pyramid. So yeah,
it is mad. It is mad. It is mad. So talking of your self-care, self-love, where did the inspiration come from for that then?
Being burnt out, when I had to leave the education system because I'd lost my mind. I was like, I was at rock bottom, so I had two options. I either stay at rock bottom or I start taking care of myself, so that's how it began. I had to really look into what was going on with my mental health, what was going on with my physical health. I had to readdress my eating habits, and just really think about what I enjoy doing for self-care. I'm actually going on a spa day on Friday as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Don't even tell no one, Don't even tell no one,
Yeah, but you know what? Self-care isn't just about going to the spa. Like self-care can be so many things. Like I started learning to play the guitar. For me, that's self-care. That's just spending time learning a new skill. Self-care can be listening to music, cooking yourself a nutritious meal, going for a walk. Like it can mean so many different things to different people. So I think for me it's about I like to live by example. I try to but I try to encourage people to find what works for them, really try and explore what works for you, because we're all different. We all have different journeys.
I think this then in that question then this here is, I think, self-care, self-love. This is what I'm doing here now. I just love doing this, like talking to people, getting to know people. Me trying to introduce I'm introducing the new people into what what basketball is about in this country. So this is one thing I love definitely, and it heals me in a way, man. I like doing this stuff. You know what I mean? There will come times like 10 minutes before, about 30 minutes, I'm like, I've got to do live, and as soon as I'm in it, I'm like,
You enjoy it.
I'm clicked in. I'm like, I'm in that zone. I think
Tell
it's
me,
because the whole process behind this, people don't see the whole process behind this, like doing the advert, doing the promotion, and there's a question, writing up the question. You got to think about the stuff
yeah.
you got to ask people, and that's not easy.
But you're doing well. Keep it up. I'm really proud of you. So keep going.
Thanks.
But I have a question going back to basketball. So how did you get into basketball? What was your inspiration, and how has it benefited you in terms of where you are today?
All right, basketball. I got into basketball through my older brother. Funny enough, when I was younger, I just never used to do nothing. When I was younger, I don't know. Like I was just always like I just used to do whatever when I was younger. So it got me into basketball. I think my brother had to kind of begged and pleaded my mom to get me to go basketball in Crystal Palace. This was when I was like 8 years old, 7 years old. And I was like, at the time, I was like, basketball. I was like, all right, I don't care in it, like whatever. So I remember every week Marcus go training, and then she'd be like, no, you're not taking him. So I'm thinking these times, why am my mom so protective of me not going to the training? I don't care, but whatever. And then next week you ask again, he goes, Mom, you would enjoy it. I was just, no, I'm not taking him. For ages this would happen. And then eventually I went, fell in love since.
Yeah.
Palace. Then I went just to go Crofton, and
Did you
then
ever go jump off?
jump off. No, never went jump off. But they used to do some slam dunk stuff there, innit?
Yeah, I used to go jump off back in the day. Like I used
Nah.
to have this like red Adidas matching like tracksuit and a grey
Oh,
one as well. And we used to go
oh.
jump off, and yeah, those were the good old days. The good old days.
Mm-mm. But it was never went jump off. We had other
Hi
events though back then.
Kai.
Yes,
Kai.
Kai, big
Yes,
man Kai.
Kai.
Um, we
Go
had
to your
other.
bed.
There was other events I used to go to back then. You had Rough Already, Midnight Madness. uh, That's where a lot of the elite players from the country, the top players, were all playing in that. So I used to go and watch
Yeah,
them.
Midnight Madness. I remember that one too.
Yeah,
Oh
that was
God.
big.
I think, do you know
Midnight.
what? If I did get into basketball as a young person, I probably would have been. I don't even know. I don't even know. But
No, man. I think
two.
basketball taught me one thing. It taught me teamwork. Definitely taught me
Mhm.
teamwork. I think after Crofton and that, I just went to Brixton. It's a trainer like Brixton, and RIP Jimmy Rogers. He taught us a lot of life lessons, man. So he taught us when I went through my depression, I kind of learned from him like you got to keep going, and then I learned to keep going in life. So that's what it taught me. That's what the benefits. It taught me some how to be social and how to be a team worker. So I learned that a lot from basketball. So
Yeah.
and it's led up to here because I did say for a good year or so I was like I want to do something still involving basketball. What can I do? And I just kept trying to figure it out. So then
And
eventually
it.
started doing this.
Oh, I have another question.
Yeah.
How do I get one of your hats?
All right. So we're in the process of getting them printed.
Okay.
We've got the product. We're just looking for someone to print them off, and then that's it. This is a sample, by the way.
I love
So
it. I really
so
love it.
we're gonna get the one with the actual colors in that. You know what I mean? So
I'll rock one.
keep doing the eyes.
I'll rock one.
We were just looking into getting some, and then there's some t-shirts and stuff, and all sorts. So.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. I love it. I want one. Everything, Chris. Yes.
Yeah, I'll hook you up, man. I'll hook you up, man. I
When are
mean,
you coming to London? When am I going to see you again?
London. I ain't been in London for a minute. You know what? Tell her that I was in London to record some content with London Lions for my brand. But in terms of that, because I'm hardly there now, so because
Yeah.
obviously everyone's all moved out and that. But yeah, arrange something.
Soon, soon. Hopefully, I don't know, but soon. Hopefully soon.
You
Hopefully
still in
soon.
the same place?
Yeah. I'm still here. I'm still here.
Cool. So here's a question then.
Mm-hmm.
If it's too much, I like. So what's your ultimate goal then to achieve with being involved with mental health? Like, what is and self-care, love advocate that you are? What's the ultimate goal for Amanda?
Do you know what? I think it's to just take each day as it comes, and be open to new opportunities. Ideally, like for me, I feel like part of my responsibility is to be a role model, especially to younger women, young black girls who perhaps don't admire or love themselves, or love their black skin. But ultimately, it's to empower people to take better care of themselves, and to use my own experiences, my own teaching, not teachings, but yeah, my experiences and life lessons to empower other people, because I know what it's like to be in a really dark place. Honestly, I really do. So yeah, that's the goal, is to just keep doing what I'm doing and see where it takes me. See where it takes me.
That's it. And as you know, I like to add value here. So it's like, what advice would you give to anyone, or any young person, or any elderly person that's going through mental health? What advice would you give them that's going through a tough time or rock bottom in mental health?
I would really encourage people to remember the importance of self-care. So some questions, a question you can ask yourself is, what does self-care and what does self-love really mean to me? And really think about that question. Write down answers and look at perhaps how you can make some changes around self-care. So whether that's looking at meditation, exercise, seeking therapy, going to your GP, speaking to a friend, changing the way you eat, reducing your alcohol intake. There's so much that you can really look at in terms of, well, what does self-care and self-love really mean to me? Because when you can really sit and answer that question, things can only get better, because it's encouraging you to make changes, to your lifestyle. So yeah, I think that would be it. That would be it.
Nice. And the last one was, what advice would you give to someone that knows someone going through mental health? How would you tell them to approach it and deal with it? Because I know there's some people that don't know how to approach it or deal with someone that they know is going through it.
Yeah, that's a good question, and it can be answered in so many ways. So, the first thing I would say is, if you can, is to try and get some training in mental health first aid. So, mental health first aid is the mental health equivalent to a physical first aid course. So, you're learning how to spot the signs of depression, anxiety, suicide, psychosis, self harm, eating disorders. So, you're learning how to spot those signs, and then you're also learning, or you're developing your skills to support the person who's struggling with that specific issue. So yeah, try and access in training, whether that's you pay that, fund it, or ask your organization to send you on some training, or and research, do some research around specific mental illnesses. It's about education, but in terms of supporting other people, I'd say really try and actively listen to what someone has to say without placing judgments or dismissing someone's experiences, and asking the person what they would like, in terms of being helped. Ask, how can I help you right now? What is it that you need from me right now? Rather than assuming you know what to do, or assuming you know how to fix the person.
Yeah. Well, it's all about carefully judging it, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, well, like not judging it, but like kind of just assess it to see, where. I do remember a time at a workplace where this guy had come back to work and a lot of people were kind of like brushing him off, as before they were welcoming him because he was this, in shape looking kind of person. He come back a different person. But I only met him when he come back as a different person.
Okay.
And I just remember everyone just there like, oh, he's a bit weird. I'll get away from him, stay away from him. But I just remember just every time I saw him, I just have a conversation with him. It was just talk. And literally. He was never weird as where they made him out to be. It's just, I just feel like at the time everyone there didn't know how to deal with him because what they
Yeah,
saw you like before. Just
yeah,
gotta chat with him. We used to do busting jokes, sometimes eat Doritos and at work and we start cracking up with each other. But yeah, man, I do remember the time at work.
and you know what? That's the stigma. People often don't know how to respond to someone who's struggling with their mental health. So if this person had broken their leg, then likely get some flowers and a card and some chocolates and loads of well wishes. But as soon as it becomes mental health, people are like, don't know what to say here. What do I do here?
Yeah.
You know?
He's weird. He's a shell of his old self. All of that talk. I just thought, oh come on, man. You know what I mean? Like you could tell
Yeah,
the guy screaming for help. Just be there with him, innit? And that's what I tried to do with him. But I told him, if you want to come chat, man, we could just go out and have a little chat. You know what I mean? But
yeah. That's the the best thing you can do. Best thing you can do.
no, definitely. I like that. I like that. So, any more questions for me?
Um, no, you're the host. Any more questions for me?
Hmm? I've got one. Well, I do these things called hotspots, but because you're not an athlete, I did have some written down.
I don't know.
Huh? No, no,
What?
no.
No,
I've got some written down. Huh?
let's not, because I don't want to embarrass myself any
No,
further.
it won't be about athletes.
Okay,
It's gonna be about music.
okay, go on then. I'll try.
Hotspots. I love these.
Okay.
So, there are two three-part questions. I would like to know an artist that you like, if you're famous yourself, or if you was an artist yourself, an artist you'd like to perform with, and a funny artist that you find funny, an artist that you find funny.
Wait, how many answers do you need? Two or three?
They're two three-part questions.
Okay, start
So
again.
the first part is an artist you like.
Okay, stop there. Does it have to be the same person?
No, not really.
Okay,
No,
so an artist that I like, I would
an
say,
artist that you like to perform with,
okay.
and an artist that you find funny.
So an artist that I'd like is Lauren Hill. An
Mhm.
artist I'd like to perform with, there's a few. Can I say three?
Go on, and I mean, everyone says two or three players and all that, and no one's doing that. So-
Bob Marley,
oh
Michael
shit.
Jackson,
Okay.
and Whitney Houston.
I don't know why I could picture you dance with Michael Jackson for some reason.
Yeah, he'd be a bit short next to me, to be fair, but yeah, Michael Jackson. And then an artist that I find funny,
Hmm.
Chris G.
Me, I ain't no artist.
You are an artist. You're a comedian. You're a comedian, an artist.
Oh, in that way, okay.
Yeah, and I know you. I know you.
Appreciate
I
that.
know you very well. So yeah, this guy is funny. He's like one of the funniest people I know.
Oh my
Memories,
god.
the memories.
Too many memories, man. I ain't got it. And then the bad there, some memories there. I can't we used to eat at that damn Morley's all the time. Oh.
Speak for yourself. Speak for yourself. No, it's the good old days. When we
Yeah,
used to go
yeah.
dancing. The good
Uh,
old.
uh, uh, yeah, I remember them days, yeah. And there's
Days.
that picture still we went out New Year's Eve.
What picture?
To see my eyeball. Trudy's got it on her phone.
Was it recent? A few years ago?
About a few years back, about 3 years, 2 years back, yeah.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
All right, the next part was, this is where it gets interesting for me. Artist you don't like, an artist that you wouldn't want to perform with, and a artist that you don't find funny.
that's easy.
Okay.
Like an artist that I don't really like for like I'd say Nicki, not Nicki, what's her name? Like that Nicki Minaj. I say I don't like Nicki Minaj.
I thought you was gonna say, what's her name? Cardi B.
She's the next. What's the next one?
Artist that you would never like to perform with.
I'd never
Oh,
like.
actually, an artist you would never like to perform with, and also an artist that you've seen perform that you wish you didn't see perform.
Do you know who I saw perform and I was so disappointed? And it's not a singer, it's a comedian. Who's a little guy, the tiny, tiny one.
Kevin Hart.
Yeah, I sat in the audience like this.
Oh wow.
I know. Yeah, I was so bored. He was at the O2 years ago, and I was so bored. It just felt really forced. I didn't enjoy it
Yeah.
at all. So yeah, he's one. And then what was the other one?
An artist you don't find funny.
A singer, or does it have to be a singer?
No, I don't have to be a singer. It could be any kind of artist. Like you said, it could be any
Um,
kind of artist.
Michael, what's that comedian called? Michael Blackman? Is it Michael Blackman?
Blackson.
Blackson? I don't find him funny at all.
Sorry, I know I'm giggling. I've seen him in other things that he did make me laugh. But fair enough, fair enough.
I have humor, but I just think I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. He doesn't make.
Like, because he's not African, but he's being African. Like he's doing the accent in it.
I
Because I
don't know.
heard him talk before. He talks full on American.
Yeah, I think he just goes too far. Goes too far. I think he over sexualizes women too much.
Mm, mm, mm.
I don't
Yes,
like.
and also, yeah, with the Nicki Minaj, yeah, I get you with that Nicki Minaj stuff. It's not for me really.
Yeah, I've got, and it ties in quite nicely with wanting for me as being a role model as a black woman, because you see so many of these celebrities performing in certain ways, and it's so degrading. And there are so many young girls that look up to that, and think and feel that that's what they're here for. It's just their physical appearance,
Mm,
and it's
more to it than that. I do remember seeing a video as well, grime video, and obviously the language of us says all that wild ground fam and all that, and I saw Drake on a track talking like that, and I was a bit like, what?
mm,
That's weird. And everyone's like, what's wrong with it, man? I said, no, it's not. It's not good. It's weird. Like, why is he pretending that he's from that environment? Like, I didn't get it.
it's a culture, isn't it? It's a culture, but
Like he's not from that culture. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah, but
But
yeah, I'm all against the over sexualizing of women, especially black women. It's women, but either seen as angry or seen as sexual objects. Other and very
yeah, I
little.
used to like it. I just don't really. Doesn't excite me no more.
Yeah, I'm sure you're a fan.
Yeah, I know. You used to. I used to be like, oh, look at her now, and I see bare people. It's funny. It's funny now because when I see through Instagram, I see a big butt in thongs and that, and I see like 5,000 likes, and I just skip past it. I thought, nah, what am I like? I'm liking that for, man. Like,
So what kind of qualities do you admire in a woman?
I like a woman who, like you said, self-care, self-love, someone who's determined in it, someone who's got a ambitious mind. You know what I mean? I like seeing people's progress as well.
Mm,
I've seen some pictures of women where they're showing what they were like 3 years ago when they'll let themselves go, and then they show you now, and it's like they've completely changed themselves, and that's like shit. This person, you know what I mean? Really, really like dedicated themselves to making themselves better in it. Like not to say well there was something wrong with them back then, but you could see that they wanted to do something with their life.
yeah,
So those kind of things in like determination, persistence, positive people, man. No, people are positive. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like there's
yeah.
a psychiatrist I talked to. She's got a Phoenix coaching is, and like sometimes I will say something and I'll look at I'll see other people doing stuff. I'll be like, oh man, this ain't fair, man. Why am I not? But no, but you got to remember, you've got this, and they always remind me that what I'm doing is great. I've got focus on it, and it's like, all
We're
right, cool.
all on a path. We're all on our very own paths,
Yeah,
overlap and cross paths with other people, but you have to remember to water your own garden, and not allow comparison to be the thief of your own joy.
exactly. And I need to get away from that.
Especially with social media, we can look at what other people are doing
Yeah,
and making all this progress, or they're okay, even especially with mental health. Oh, they're fine. They're posting on social media, so therefore they're fine. I don't need to check in on them. And it's like, no, I think technology has really taken away the beauty of communication, which for me as humans, that's our gift. We can
Yeah.
communicate with words through language. And I think technology is really, 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 really
Mm-mm.
destroyed that.
Mm-mm. Definitely, definitely. And going forward as well, I've also learned to may sound a bit arrogant, rude to some, but for me, I've learned to kind of be selective with the advice I take as well from people. I think when I was back 4 or 5 years ago, I used to just listen to everyone thinking everyone knows something. You really got to be selective with who you can talk to and who you can approach.
Yeah,
With my daughter, kind of learned to speak to people who have been through it. If you know what I mean. No
yeah.
point speaking to someone who says good things because they've never been a father or mother before, so I can't really listen to them. And
That's completely true, though.
you know what I mean? Yeah, it's like yourself. If I want to get into teaching mental health, I'm not gonna go to someone who just you know like you just reads a book about mental health. Someone who's actually doing it. You know what I mean? I would go to you and say, all right, how do you deal with this and this that? So you kind of I'm more selective now who I take advice from.
Yeah, definitely. But in terms of like taking advice, like going back to what you were saying about parenting and
Yeah,
only taking advice from parents, but be careful because like I'm not a parent myself, but I have parented hundreds of children. I've nurtured many, not just children, adults as well. And the work I do also ties in with mental health and young people.
definitely.
A woman, so if you ever came to me for advice around your daughter, I'm like, okay, this is a female's perspective. So it's also about experience, and that what experience does that person have.
Exactly. But it is like experience is important. But yeah, it is true. But why I say I go to parents, it's not like there's any parents now because you've got to really when I go to them, like the ones I've talked to, I talk to them like you got to. I said what did I say on one of my statuses? Before you take advice of someone, always look at their resume. So when I say that, I always talk to them. What is it they've done? How many children they got, and how they raise their children. I look at how they raise their children, and then see how their children turned out, and then I get a good perspective. 'Cause not every parent has done. I want to say it in a bad way, but they've not done the best job because they probably didn't take the time to understand the child,
And or even understand themselves. A lot of parents
understand themselves exactly.
process.
But the ones I do like, the ones I do talk to, they say something, and I like you said, no, like I said, back to energy and the soul and feeling it. When some people say it to me, it clicks because it's like they're actually talking from a great place.
What
So
about like what's the difference between a good parent and a bad parent? Like, who taught you how to be a good or a bad parent? Like, is there such thing as a, do you understand? Like, we're not taught actually how to be parents. We learn from our own parents and try to make changes, or some people don't make changes, make things worse.
yeah,
But
that's a difficult one. Like to say it was a good parent, I think to me, it's hard to say what's a good parent because there's some parents who've done some good and and the kids still kind of do turn out to do certain things that is not like deemed as a good. You know what I mean? So there's parents like that who've I've seen it before, but who fought their best to make sure they tried to give everything they can. And you got some children ungrateful. So when they're ungrateful, you can't. Do you blame the parent? Do you blame the child as for being ungrateful? It's a tough one.
it's an
But I
interest.
think as long as a parent, I said, as long as you're there and you're always fighting and you're always trying, you're always trying to teach them the morals, can't go wrong. Like at the end of the day, you can't say you didn't try.
Narissa said some parents have so much baggage they handle or rear their children, not nurture them. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's too much of that. I think there is a lot of that. I think sometimes some parents will admit it. The ones that have multiple kids, sometimes it comes to a point where you can see they're having favoritisms. And
Mm.
and some parents won't admit that they're doing that, but it's like it's happening. It's like you're trying to tell them, look, it's not you. You can't say you're not favoriting the child because that's the child going through it. I've seen that sometimes. So
What about sibling rivalry?
you know what it was? Maybe I could talk from my experience as a sibling rivalry. I don't think I had a rivalry with my with my brothers and that, but I think there was times I felt like, wait, why am I treated different? I always felt like that at times. You know what I mean? It's not until I moved out, I just thought, you know what, I'm moving out, and then when I moved out, things were different for me. So it's like my relationship with everyone changed. You know, it's kind of like it's kind of like when it's like, they didn't realize what was there until it was gone, kind of thing.
Are you the youngest? No,
Huh?
you're the second youngest.
Yeah, second youngest. It was like a lot of things I felt like, well, I'm getting blamed for this, and why am I getting blamed for this, man? And why am I not getting called? And you know what I mean? And then as soon as I moved out to Leeds, and it was like same things I'm getting blamed for, I'm thinking it's still happening in the house when I'm not there. So it's like, and I think my relationship changed with a lot of my family members then back then when I moved out.
Yeah, because you're becoming your own person, aren't you?
Yeah. And that was the best thing for me because being in there, I just felt like I didn't know who I was until I started becoming myself outside the house. So
Yeah.
it's funny though, because all the you get all the little threats like, yeah, you want to get kicked out and all that. And when you moved out,
I was
everyone begging me, everyone begging me to come back home. I was like, all right, now you want me home.
Thank you, Larissa. We still need to. Sorry, Chris. Just having a chat with one of my friends. We need to link up soon. Okay, we need to link up like soon. Come by. Come and check me. Anyway, I'm back to you, Chris.
Yeah, that's fine.
Any more questions?
Pardon?
Do you have any more questions?
No, I'm good. That's all. Look, man, that last one, that advice, that and that. But no, I've got them all. Most of them I need to get off. What about yourself?
Um, not really. Not
Oh
really.
man, this has been a good chat. It's been a good chat, man. I think
So,
it's been needed.
your thoughts on, the police shootings, and I wanted to talk a bit about mental health in the sports arena. And for anyone who watches this video who, is involved in sports and interested in learning more about mental health and how to better support your mental health or support other people, then please do get in touch because, there's so much
Yeah,
work to be done and awareness to be
yeah.
raised.
Let people know where they can find you at.
Amanda, Amanda underscore Z underscore T
Yeah,
at
yeah.
Instagram. And I believe it's the same on Twitter as well, or just Amanda Townsend on LinkedIn to
All
find.
right. And anyone else? I'm everything Chris underscore 2020. Page is mainly a platform for basketball, but also that's the core. But we also do other things. As you can see, I'm talking to Amanda about mental health, which is important because a lot of basketball players are going through it. I know a lot of them are talking about my page.
But it's also, before we go, it's also good for your mental health. Obviously, it's a form of exercise and an escape from other things.
Oh,
So
definitely. It used to help me. Oh, when I was in Leeds and I used to get mad and had arguments and that with people. That stress reliever just shooting like 300 shots, 400 shots. You forget everything. It's like the ball is that person you're angry at, or is that ball is the person, is that thing, is the situation you're mad at. That's what I used to do. Yeah.
ah, okay. 400 shots. How long would that take?
Depends what you're doing. If you want to make all 400, it could take as long as you want. Maybe I think there's sometimes I should shoot 1,000 shots. So, but not all the time. Obviously, I would not be here if I did that. But it was 300 or 400 shots sometimes.
Wow, I need to give that a go.
So it was 4 hours. If it was either you had to have a choice, either shoot 400 and see how much you make out of 400, or make all 400, make 400 shots. So that you could shoot 600 times
Yeah,
to make 400.
that is some good mind exercise. That's meditation.
Yeah.
That's mastering your craft right
It's
there.
discipline as well. You're not leaving until you make 400. But
Yeah. Why 400? Why not just like 100?
it's about repetition, if you know what I mean. So it's all about getting your repetition and getting your form right. And then, like I
Four.
said, with discipline again.
100 is repetition and discipline, but 400, that's like, wow.
That's what professionals do. You'd be surprised. The 400 is minor. You know, some professionals, rest in peace, Kobe used to shoot, he said he used to come in before training, shoot 1,000, do training, and after shoot another 500 or 1,000 after training.
Wow.
So
That is a challenge. I want to get on. I
he's a
want to.
psycho. Kobe was a psycho.
What do you mean by?
Huh?
What do you mean by a psycho?
He was he was like obsessive. He was a psycho, like, and not in a bad way, in a good way. Like, I'll tell you a story I'll tell you the story before we leave. I watched one guy called Jay Williams. He said he was he played for Chicago Bulls. This is when Kobe was in Lakers, and then he said he came to work out before the game to get warm, and he said he walked into the arena. Kobe's already there shooting. So he said he saw Kobe shooting. He's in a sweat, full on sweat, busting out, and then he said, "All right, he's gonna go work out." So this Jay Williams guy works out. After working out, he stops. He still sees Kobe there working out. So he's still in the full sweat, game speed, everything. So they had the game. In the game, Kobe scores 40 points and they win the game. They beat Jay Williams' team. So Jay was like, he wanted to know why he was there for so long, shooting after he finished. So he asked him. He said, "Kobe, why was you shooting for so long?" Kobe said, "Yeah, because I saw you come in, and I want to let you know you were not gonna outwork me, no matter what." And I was like, "What? Like that's psycho. That's a psycho. Like what?
Psycho. That's someone who's dedicated. I don't.
Dedicated. He was dedicated."
That the reason why I'm challenging the word psycho is because of the work I do and the stigma attached to psychosis. So I'm trying to challenge you to find a different word than psycho because, yeah.
I mean that in that, and my stigma probably is a good way. It's like I love that. It's like what?
But this is part of the problem. This is part of.
He was mad. He was dedicated. He was just possessive. He was just like I loved him. I was like, this guy, man. I said, damn, boy. Like,
oh, that's
and there's many more stories with him like that. But yeah, it was great. It was inspiring.
Yeah. Well, that's all we can do, is inspire. That's what I'm here for. And I think I had a chat with someone, a young guy yesterday, like early 20s, and you can see he's a bit directed in this world. And I just said, look, as long as you can find something where you're helping other people, you will be fine. And I think that really sat
true
with him.
That's true.
Going down the path, and I thought, I'm gonna
like what you're doing with your mental health and your self-advocate. Keep self-love stuff. Keep doing it. And like what I'm doing with this is a platform, so it's not for other people.
Thank you, Chris. It's been lovely seeing you.
Exactly. Also, check out the women's roundtable. I did a WBBL roundtable, women's basketball.
Did you post that just now?
That's been out for a while now. It's on YouTube. So
okay. Out. Okay. Yeah. All right, darling. Well, enjoy the evening, and we'll connect again soon.
Definitely. And everyone else, peace. And Amanda, I'll catch up with you
soon. All right. Bye.
Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris.
I'm Chris G, host of Everything Chris. Hope you liked that video. If you did, click that like button. Also leave a comment. And also, if you want to see more, click that subscribe button to get a notification when we upload new content every single time. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I hope you stay tuned for some more. And also, as you know with me, everything's always Chris.